Hey everybody, how you doing today? Welcome to Data Structures. So we've got a couple things to talk about today. We're going to talk about the syllabus first. I know that's the most boring part here when I read to you, but there's a couple important things I want to pull out here, and I assume you folks can read the rest of it. So if you bear with me and let me pull out some of the important pieces here, we'll get through this and it won't be too bad, I promise. So this should be the course you're here for, right? This is a lot less embarrassing when you're online because people don't show up in the wrong room, but that's okay. This is me. Hi, I'm Eric Chinesky. Nice to meet you. Go ahead and Google me. I'm the only Eric Chinesky in the world. Find out all sorts of information. I've got links to my website with some more information about me in the course information section where we found the syllabus. We'll come back to that in a little bit. This is my cell phone. Please feel free to call or text. This is the summer, so I sleep in a little bit, and then usually I'm up till midnight or later. So feel free to call or text anytime, like 9 a.m. to midnight or so. And if I don't answer, leave me a voicemail. Let me know what time is good to call you back, or text like a normal person, right? I don't have my office hours set yet. I've got a survey you folks can take. I'll have a link for that in the week one section for you to let me know what is the best time to offer office hours so I can meet with you folks. Happy to do, morning-ish stuff, not super early, afternoons, and I do late evenings as well after my kids go to bed. So like 10 p.m. to midnight, perfectly fine to meet. So I'll have that out there. You can fill out what hours are good for you, and I'll do what I can to accommodate the most folks there. And then we can always schedule things by appointment if those hours don't work for you. So for our office location, we could drive to campus, but this is an online async class and you don't have to be near campus, and this is probably just easier if we meet over Discord or Zoom. This is my personal Zoom room, password capital CIS. Feel free to use that or DM me on Discord, and we can do calls there as well. Our classroom location, Desire to Learn. We don't have any set meeting days and times. We will have a presentation at the end. We'll get to that in a little bit. The course catalog description should be a copy-paste. Should be no surprises here. The prereqs, you should have had CIS 1500. That's our Intro to Programming in Java course. If you didn't have that because you got it waived or some other reason here, we do teach this course currently in Java. Dr. Baugh is working on making it be a little bit more language agnostic come fall, I think, as we want this class to be used in more programs. But for now, it's taught in Java. So if you don't have a Java background, you got a little bit of catching up to do. That's kind of the focus of this week, is a little primer. I don't know when the last time you folks had your Java programming class, so we'll sort of ease you into it here before we really dive into the deep end here in data structures. A couple general education outcomes, which are interesting. So all classes at OCC, I think all classes at OCC, map to some sort of general education outcome. And OCC has a couple different general education things that they look for as OCC students should learn throughout their degree program or certificates or whatever they're taking classes for. So the big one here is critical thinking. We also focus on quantitative literacy and a little bit of information literacy. So those are three of the things that will be assessed as part of your assignments, that you can do this critical thinking piece, you can do the quantitative literacy piece, and the information literacy piece. And then specific course outcomes, regardless of who teaches it, we assess these as well. We'll talk about structured behavior of stacks and queues, including priority queues, linked lists, binary search trees, hash tables, and heaps, which is a lot of fun. If you don't know what any of those mean, that's okay, right? We'll get to that throughout the semester. So if it sounds like nonsense, that's okay, no worries. Identify the most appropriate type of data structure for use given a set of requirements. So this one is huge. This is what we're talking about, some of this critical thinking, right? The quantitative literacy, right? How are we trying to work with this data? So the idea about data structures is how do we keep data in memory to work on it? Performance issues related to each data structure. From number one, for insert, delete, and find, we'll implement at least 3 data structures using the Java collections framework. They're already written for us, so we don't need to reinvent the wheel, which is amazing. We'll spend some time reinventing the wheel to help us learn a little more about how these things work. So it's a little tedious to sort of write these things that already exist, but the idea is that if you understand how it works, you'll be better able to make decisions about how to use it, when to use it, and understand how it works because you wrote it, right? If you can write one, then we can just use the library without having to do all the extra work. We'll override toString and equals, implement the comparable interface. This is one of my favorite interfaces to implement here, comparable. Interface might not mean anything yet. I don't know, you probably didn't touch much on interfaces in 1500. We'll get to that, don't worry. We'll create structures within structures using the Java collections framework, like a tree map of linked lists, an array list of array lists. A two-dimensional array lists are one of my favorite things here, like a 2D grid. These are great. And we'll identify 3 classic n log n and 3 O of n squared sorting algorithms and describe their general properties. This looks like math. it sort of is math. We don't have to go super deep into the math, but n squared for any given n gets big really fast. Right? Think parabolas. Right? When you square something, x is squared, you get this parabola. It goes up really fast. The log of n is the opposite. It goes up really slow. Right? And then n times that is still going up, sort of like n is just a linear here, and then n times log n is sort of, it's a little bit less than, a little bit more than linear, but not as fast as n squared here. We'll get more into that later. And then we'll illustrate the execution sequence of recursive methods. Recursion is one of my favorite things. It's not actually the most practical, but it's a lot of fun, and there's some very useful use cases for recursion that we'll get into as well. So for our textbook, I forgot it is at my office. I'll have to go pick it up because I just forgot to grab it. This is the 5th edition, is the current version of the data structures and abstractions with Java. Give me one second. I've got the link over here. Let's see. It looks like this one here. Here's your data structures and abstractions with Java 5th edition by Pearson. I don't like Pearson. I didn't pick the book. My apologies. It is a good book. Tons of information there. You get a bunch of stuff. E-text is fine. Print copies are fine. I don't actually know what this use certified thing even is, but that's okay. And if you'd like, the 4th edition is basically the same, because they just come out with new editions to take our money, because that's what Pearson does. So sure. So here's the ISBN. Order it wherever you want here, from the OCC bookstore, your favorite online bookstore, or go to a real bookstore. I don't know if the actual physical bookstores would carry this one, but that's okay. And then supplemental materials. If you've not had a class with me before, I like all sorts of other tools. So we're going to use GitHub. GitHub is a hosting provider of the Git source control tool. We'll get into all of that later. And we'll use the GitHub desktop client. I know the other tools can work with Git directly. The reason I like this one is it's the same desktop client no matter what language I teach, no matter what IDE we're using, and is consistent. Works out great. Discord for my office hours, or just to hang out in the class chat. Discord is much more friendly and actually like a modern tool rather than the discussion forums that we have from, have basically been the same since I was in school. Wow, it's almost 20 years ago now. I'm an old person. Wow. Okay. So that'll take you to my server. Once you get to the server, you can accept the rules, and then you can pick the right roles for your class that you're in, and you can get access to all that. I'm going to do everything in IntelliJ IDEA. The community edition is the free one. You can get a license for their premium version as a student. If you register, it's a big hassle, and we don't really use any of those cool features. So the community edition is fine, and then you don't have to worry about any of that licensing stuff. So you can get that from JetBrains. And then what's great about IntelliJ is it will download the JDK for you. You don't need to download that separately. So it'll let you pick from a couple different JDKs. And I've got the link for Scene Builder out here. I'm hoping to do some graphical user interface programs because they're fun. We're going to actually get rid of these once we go to different languages because they won't be the same. But you folks all had Java, so we can do some GUI stuff. It should be a lot of fun. And if you hadn't done a lot with it, that's okay. We're not going to get super deep into the Scene Builder stuff using Java FX. But I think it's a lot more fun to click buttons than it is to type in a big black box in the console. So. And if you don't want to install these tools yourself, you're welcome to use the OCC Virtual Desktop. Now, I've been told, shouldn't have clicked that one. Should have control clicked for a new tab. They don't recommend this HTML version. I don't really know why. I think it's laggy or something. They told me not to use it, so I just never even bothered. So get the full client for Windows or Mac. I would not program on iOS. That's just no, just don't do that. You're going to just give yourself a headache. For Chromebooks, I think it's okay for Chromebooks, which is nice because you don't have a lot of power there. You'll use the virtual desktop, you'll be fine. All right, let's see if we can get back to where we were here. That's why I should have control clicked. All right, so that's all the tools we're going to use. We'll get into Git a little bit later. That'll be our first lab exercise, is practicing with Git. If you've had one of my classes before and you've used it, you'll be really bored. If you've not used it before, you'll be overwhelmed. Git is a lot. There's just a lot of steps, but we'll do it every week for our labs. We'll do it for our projects, and you'll get comfortable with it. I promise. Just ask around. Ask anybody else who's had my class before. You'll do okay. I promise. We just have to go through the process. For assessment policies and procedures, I am rather a stickler about plagiarism and cheating because it is a big pet peeve of mine. It devalues the degree if someone cheats their way through school and gets hired by somebody, and that company realizes this person has no idea what they're doing because they cheated their way through school and fires them. Then they won't want to hire OCC graduates. And all the people who actually worked hard and learned the stuff that we have been taking classes to learn and prepare you to do these things, you're not even going to get a chance. So it's in your best interest for people not to cheat. because it devalues the degree for everybody. So academic dishonesty results in a failing grade for the course. You will not cheat and pass my class. There are no try agains. There are no zero on the assignments. There are no oops. You just fail the class, you get reported to the dean's office. The dean's office keeps a list. I don't know exactly how they do it because we don't have access to it, but that's fine. And I believe the school still keeps their three strike policy. So after 3 offenses, you'll no longer be welcome to be a student here at OCC. So just don't cheat, right? You're taking the class. Hopefully you're going to learn some things. It's just not worth it. I promise you it's not that hard. You can get through the material. You'll be able to do it. I believe in you. You'll do great. If you're not sure if something's academic dishonesty, ask me. Please just ask. I'm happy to answer those questions for you. Right? Programmers get paid a whole lot of money to copy paste code they find online and sort of tweak it and make it work. I get that. I'm cool with that. I'm okay with you using your resources, adding to it to make your own original work, like an English paper. Right? When you write a 5-page English paper, you're going to have all sorts of quotes throughout it, taking other material and then adding your original work to it, adding your original thoughts. What you don't do is copy paste 5 pages, put it in a single set of quotes and say, here's my paper. Right? That's academic dishonesty. That's someone else's work. But you can take pieces of other people's work, add your original work to it, and we're great. You cite your sources, we have no problem here. So I'll show you how to do that as we go. And if you have questions, just ask me. That being said, Chegg.com may not be used. You may not post things there. You may not cite answers posted there. Any use of Chegg or similar sites like Course Hero or other awful places like that will be considered academic misconduct immediately. Chegg.com is a awful, horrible website. They're getting sued, I believe, by Pearson, which is kind of funny because I also hate Pearson, and I hope they both go out of business. But just don't use it. Posting material there is actually against our policy. The distribution of academic materials is a violation of our policy. You can't post materials on Chegg and ask for answers. Chegg has the ability for me to give them my assignment and my tests and have them not allow those questions to show up for 24 hours. After that, they said, screw you, Eric. We're going to let people host it because that's how we make our money, because people can pay to have our, quote, tutors do the work for them. And then they turn in crap from Chegg, which half the time is awful anyway, because you're not getting good material from Chegg. They're awful. So don't bother. Okay, just stay away from it. You'll be in a lot better shape, I promise. The code of conduct doesn't really matter that much because we're not in person, right? There's stay in class until you're dismissed. Keep the corridors quiet. So again, it's just kind of in here as a copy paste. I apologize. What people care about, our grading policy, how you get your grade in the class. Some people really want an A and get a 4.0. That's great. That's a great goal. Some people just want a C so the class will transfer. C's get degrees. It's okay. There's the joke people say, what do you call the person who graduated last in med school of their class? Doctor. Still a doctor. You don't know if your doctor got a 4.0 or if your doctor got a 2.0 and just barely skated by. They're still a doctor. So again, up to you. Whatever your particular goal is, you can work through it at this way here. So I like the weighted system. So each category here, labs, projects, quizzes, midterm, final project, will have its own set of assignments and points. And the total points in that category make up your score in that category, using the points in that category, make up this percentage of your score. So if you get a 95% on your labs, you'll have 9.5% of your total 100%. And it's all weighted. D2L does it all for you. It'll keep it all up to date. Should be fine here. So just because a lab is worth 10 points and a project's worth 10 points does not mean they're the same 10 points. So just the points only matter within the categories. It just makes my life easier to do these weights. That way I don't have to make things add up nicely. The grading scale, these letters grades should be standard throughout. I know they go up to 0.9, but I do round because I think 93.5 should round up. But this is a copy paste. So again, it's in here, but I'll round for you because why not? For NMARCs, if you don't turn anything in essentially the first 15% of class, so for 15 weeks classes, that's 3 weeks, you can get an N grade. Bad stuff happens, don't do it. You'll have a syllabus quiz this week, and I will be following up with you if you do not turn it in to make sure no one gets an N. If you're not checking your student email address and you don't log into the class, I'm going to have a very hard time reminding you to do it, but you're the folks who are already watching this video, so I'm preaching to the choir here. For late work, I don't take late work without prior written approval. Right? It's summer. Let me know if you've got travel plans. I'm happy to be flexible with you the best I can. Labs and quizzes, I can be a little bit more flexible with. The projects are much harder because I will post solutions to them. And once there's a solution out there, I really can't take it. So please plan accordingly. All the projects you'll have 2 weeks to work on. The final project will have the last month of class to work on, and then labs and quizzes every week. We'll get to the schedule in a little bit. All right, our student policy and support information. This should all be standard in all your syllabi. Syllabi is the right word. English is hard. FERPA, I won't say anything about anything to anybody because I'll just say go look and desire to learn. And that just makes my life easy. For the Americans with Disabilities Act, if you could use some accommodations, please contact the Access Office. They will contact me and get the paperwork on file, and then I'm happy to make reasonable accommodations to make sure that works for you. But I can't do that without the paperwork from the Access Office. Please do it sooner rather than later because it does take a little while. The Academic Support Center is fantastic. They offer free, and no, free is the wrong word here, no additional charge tutoring. It's paid for by your tuition and tax dollars, so it's just no additional charge for this. So check out the Orchard Ridge schedule here. This is our summer schedule. For CIS, we have a couple people actually, which is pretty exciting, who can tutor for data structures. We got Michael, 3 different days, even Saturday hours. That's fantastic. Michael's great. We have Jordan. Jordan's fantastic as well. So I had both Michael and Jordan. I think they're actually hanging out in the Discord still because they're just cool like that. Dustin, I don't recall, but that's okay. Doesn't had a lot of students. Doesn't mean he's not a great person. So evening hours, which is fantastic. Mr. Tim has been a group tutor for me for the intro to programming class for a long time. He's amazing. He can tutor anything and everything CIS. This guy is phenomenal. So take a look at them. Feel free to book appointments with them. They can do hour-long appointments with you. Just make sure you don't ghost them because then you'll lose your tutoring privileges, which sort of makes sense, right? They have to pay these people for their time, but do take advantage of that. When we meet for my office hours, I only schedule things for about 15 minutes at a time because I have 30 times about 120 minus 5, so 115 students or so that I might possibly meet with throughout the week or every so often. So I can't book hour-long meetings with all of you folks. So my time is a little bit more limited. Feel free to chat with them. They're always happy to assist you with things that are fuzzy or you're not sure. Again, I'm happy to do that too. Post it in the Discord, send me an email. I'm happy to clarify things, but they're a fantastic resource. And that's one of my favorite things about OCC is our Academic Support Center. For D2L issues, if the website doesn't work, call them. If it's a content issue, that's all me. I put all the content out there. So this is only like, hey, the page isn't loading or I got an error, that sort of thing. Some other things, the technology appropriate use regulations you all agreed to at some point. I'm sure we've all clicked on it without even reading it. Just don't do stupid things with college resources or you'll lose access to those resources. It's really hard to pass CIS classes if you can't touch the computers and use our D2L site. So don't do that. For netiquette, this is a great tip. Just be kind is the easy way to sum that up. For public safety, they've got their website here. You can check that out. We're not in person, so I don't think most of that is going to be applicable to us, but we got them out there if we need them. And then the libraries are amazing. They've got so many cool resources out here. You can ask a librarian. There's research guides. There's the catalog. There's research databases. Their main website. They're a phenomenal resource here at the college. You got all sorts of cool stuff. And there's a really cool site through one of the databases. I'll have to find the link for you. Again, that's it's specific to IT books, and they've got a huge library of books about just about any topic you could be interested in. Just for free because we're paying for access to that database essentially. So all sorts of really cool technical books on just about any topic you can come up with. So I'll have to find that link for you later and post it somewhere. If you checked me out on Rate My Professor, which everybody does, of course, right, when you have a choice of which prof to take, I've not been great about this. Winter was not very kind to me. Thankfully, spring's been going a whole lot better, so I expect to be able to keep up this summer. We have stuff graded within a week of the due date, not when you turn it in, but the due date. I'll wait till everything's in so I can compare them all at once, keep it as fresh as I can to have it in my head to see if people copy paste it off of each other. It's not the best system, but it's the best I got. And I will typically respond in 24 hours or less. I'm like any good millennial. It all goes to my phone. Discord goes here. Emails go here. Text messages, of course, go here. So if I don't respond within 24 hours, please reach out again. It's possible my son, when he was watching YouTube Kids, just swiped away the notification and I've missed it. Actually, that's likely. He watches more YouTube Kids than I should admit to, but this is life, and then we'll get through it here. So if you haven't heard back from me within 24 hours, please reach out again. You're not pestering me. You're not bothering me. I would like you to do that because I'm sorry that I missed it. All right, and then the course schedule. We're almost done with the syllabus. I've been reading to you for about 20 minutes. I'm sorry. This is terribly dull. Oh, shoot. This is the old one. Here is the new one here. I need to update this. So one of our friends pointed out that I had the wrong appendices in here, because this was a copy paste from the last time I taught it with the 4th edition. So let me go fix that real quick here. Okay, great. So we'll come back to content. I'll just drag in this new copy here, and then life is good. It should replace for me. Update. It's going to take a second to preview, so that's fine. We don't need to let that preview. We'll just come down here. So we will have 4 projects. Project 0, Project 1, Project 2, Project 3. We'll have a single midterm exam, and then we'll have a final project the last month of class. So 2 weeks for every project. And then the final project, the last month of class here, is the general pace for that. So tonight is the course introduction, or this week. I keep saying tonight. I'm sorry. That's a force of habit here. We'll talk about the appendices A through C, kind of get you a soft start here, a little refresher on Java, and then we can actually jump into some chapters, and we just start cruising as we go here. So we've got almost 30 chapters we get through as we go, which is a lot of fun. A lot of great stuff here to talk about. I love data structures. Really exciting stuff, I promise. I know it sounds really dull, but it's very useful stuff to study and to look at how stuff works. So the idea is the class will open midnight on that day, although I'm a little behind on posting this video, but I should be better at that moving forward. So about midnight or so, you'll see stuff show up for the week, and then the week ends the following Tuesday at 11:59 p.m. So your quizzes and your labs will be due 11:59 p.m. Projects will be due 11:59 p.m. of the following Tuesday. We'll just go from there. Yeah, so we'll hit some of those words that probably didn't make a lot of sense to you, and then we'll talk about them and have a lot of fun. The second to last week of class is reserved for working on the final project and to check in with me to see how things are going. So that's your last chance, really, to meet up with me. I've got the whole week set aside just to talk about how things are going. And then on 8/16, which really we've got like 8/16 through, hang on, probably don't want to see all my notifications, do you? Can I close these? I can close these, right? Wow, Eric, good job. I'm a pro. All right, I'm just going to give up on that. Here, there we go. Clear all. That was nice. So the semester ends officially on the 28th. No, the 21st. So we've got from the 16th through the 21st, essentially, to do the presentations. So I'll schedule those one-on-one with you folks over Zoom. The idea here is this is my last chance to chat with you, have you explain what's going on in your code. We'll take a quick look at it. It's 5-10 minutes tops. These ones take a little bit longer than 1500 did because there's more going on if you have me for 1500. So it'll take slightly more time, but this is my chance to check in with you, see how things are going. And honestly, it's when I see if you copy pasted the whole thing or not. Because people who just copy pasted someone else's solution have no idea what's happening in their code, and I ask them about it, and they just say, what, huh? So, fair warning, right? Just do the work. We've got a month to work on it. It'll be great, I promise, and it should be a worthwhile project at the end. Not the most interesting thing here in the world, but it's something that you'll have that you can put in your portfolio and talk about when you go do interviews. So, should be some fun here. All right. Awesome. So I think that wraps up the syllabus. If you have questions or concerns, please let me know. Email me, text me, call me, message me on Discord. I love when people post in the class Discord channel because then everyone else has a chance to see it, and then I just don't get the same question 5 times, which is great. There is a forum if you like forums. Again, it's sure. It's like, I don't know, really old technology since I've been in school to have these forums. And they're not bad. They're not awful or anything, but it doesn't like go to my phone at all, and accessing my phone is awful, where like Discord has a great app and it just pings me when people post stuff on my server, and then I can go from there. So, all right. Thanks, folks. I will catch you in the next video. Take care.